So here is our agenda for today's meeting. There's actually been quite a bit of activity in the past few months. So we're going to start with an introduction of the newly elected Greenwood County Democratic Party Executive Committee. We're going to talk about this week's primary results, who the winners are, and what it looks like going forward as we head into the November elections. We're going to talk about the South Carolina Democratic Party convention that occurred last Saturday. We're going to talk about the activities that have been occurring over the past few months. It is my duty to report on the progress that we've made and also what we plan to do from now through November's elections. And then finally, I want to open the forum for any questions and answers that you may have. You can, again, type in your questions into the comment window provided by Facebook Live, and I will do my best to answer them as openly and honestly as I can. So without further ado, let's talk about the Greenwood County Democratic Party Executive Committee. A virtual convention was held in April, hosted by the state Democratic Party. They did a great job coordinating with all 46 counties since in-person conventions were not allowed. They brought their technology to bear and allowed each individual county to hold a virtual election via phone teleconference that the state party managed. And then the formal voting of the new committees were performed. So here's the current slate of the executive committee. You've got myself as the chair, Michael Gaskin as first vice chair, May Kung as the second vice chair, and Matthew Miller as third vice chair. Our executive committee woman is Kathy Swindell, with Ella Hill as the alternate. The executive committee man is David Gaskin, with Reverend James Thompson as the alternate. Then we also have as our continuing treasurer, George Swindell. Our social media director is Lane Horowitz. And our consultants, Ms. Audrey Witherspoon and Dr. Bob Phillips, have continued in their roles advising us and providing great guidance. We've also added two new positions to our executive committee. The church liaison is going to be Ms. Wanda Moore. She's accepted that role to help bridge communications between our party and the churches throughout Greenwood County, and that way we can help spread the word about voting rights and voting processes, as well as take any community initiatives that they're doing and pass it along to our members. And then we have a community organizations liaison, a newcomer to our party, but very passionate and active in the Democratic Party, Ms. April Tuminelli. She will be reaching out to various organizations that do community work, such as the United Way, Greenwood Promise, etc., and also offer that type of communication path so that we can help promote their messages and activities that make our community better, as well as get involved in community activities ourselves. So we welcome aboard Wanda and April to our committee, and we look forward to their ideas and engagement to spread the word about our party and our ideals. We still have a number of positions still available. We are looking for a fundraising coordinator to help raise funds, set goals, help with the ideas of achieving those goals. We are looking for a secretary. Lane is going back to school, so to speak, so she's taking a different role with social media, and we are looking for a secretary to help with note-taking, putting together the weekly newsletters, putting together documents, etc., and basically allowing ideas to flow freely while the secretary is there to catch all the ideas before they get lost. We're also looking for a treasurer. George has always done a fantastic job, but when it comes to finances, I think two is better than one, and we need somebody to back George up, learn about the filing and reporting with the South Carolina Ethics group that we're obligated to do every quarter, and we just want to make sure that we have smooth handoff and redundancy of that knowledge going forward. And then finally, a very important position, especially based on some events that we've seen recently, a director of voting engagement and protection. We're going to talk a little bit about that more as we get into the South Carolina Democratic Party portion of this presentation. But we want to have somebody locally who can be in charge of knowing the rules and regulations about voting rights, knowing all the dates and deadlines of when voter registration is able to happen, and also to help with get out the vote efforts. If you are interested in any of those positions, please reach out to us. And we can, help you learn about the roles and grow it along with you. But we desperately need these positions filled. So reach out to us, and more than likely, it will be yours, pending executive committee approval, of course. So let's talk about what happened a few days ago with the June 9th primaries. We had some interesting events occur. First of all, we now have an official congressional candidate for South Carolina Congressional District 3. That's Mr. Hosea Cleveland. He should be familiar to most of us as he has run 4 times previously, or this is his 4th time running, and 2nd time as the official Democratic nominee. He has a long history in South Carolina, and you can visit his website to learn more about him and his platform. You can even visit our website. We have links to his accounts if you want to learn more about Mr. Cleveland. His platform has been consistent throughout the years: health, wealth, and security for all. So we congratulate Mr. Cleveland, and we also thank Mr. Mark D. Welch, who also ran for the congressional nomination. It was his 1st time running. He visited with us back in March in person when we were still having in-person breakfast meetings, and he's also participated in a couple of Zoom virtual calls that we've had since then. So he tried his best under very difficult times to introduce himself, but at the end of the day, we think, and even Mr. Cleveland admitted in the paper, that his name recognition helped carry him through the day. So we are here to support him in his efforts and look forward to helping replace Jeff Duncan come November 3rd. Throughout the state, we have some absolutely intriguing candidates for Congress as well. Joe Cunningham, we all know, has drawn a very strong opponent in Nancy Mace over in the 1st Congressional District. Adair Ford Burrows, who's looking to replace Joe Wilson and has outraised Joe Wilson for the last year. She's coming on very strong, and it will be an interesting battle in our adjacent SC2 district. Kim Nelson is looking to replace William Timmons over in District 4 up here. Mo Brown has won the nomination in South Carolina District number 5. That's over here. He's looking to replace Ralph Norman. Ralph barely won the special election against Archie Parnell a couple of years back. Mo has some name recognition as a football star with South Carolina, and I think he's got a very good shot at winning that election. And of course, we've got Jim Clyburn in South Carolina District 6 and Melissa Watson, who is looking to replace Tom Rice in District 7. So get to know all of these candidates. I think this is one of the strongest slates of congressional candidates that we've had in many, many years in South Carolina, and we congratulate them and look forward to learning more about them in the future. As we drill down here in Greenwood itself, looking at our senatorial candidates, we've got Mr. Floyd Nicholson, who is our candidate for District 10. Now, as we look at the map over here, Senate District 10 covers most of Greenwood, most of Abbeville, and portions of McCormick and Saluda counties. So we will be working with the parties in Abbeville, McCormick, and Saluda to help get Floyd's message out, drive up the vote, and make sure that he gets reelected. And then over in District 4, which is primarily in Anderson, but does cover part of Abbeville and Greenwood. And by the way, this gerrymandering, doesn't that not look ridiculous when you see it on the map? I mean, where does this carve out come from? But there is a portion of Greenwood that will have an opportunity to vote for Jose Villa, who's a newcomer to the world of politics. I just received his contact information yesterday, so we will be reaching out to him and helping support his candidacy as well for those of our voters who are part of Senate District number 4. So that's the state Senate, Districts 10 and 4. We then look at our House district candidates as we drill down even closer. We have 2 in Greenwood. We have District 3, actually we have 3 districts. We have number 12, which is Ms. Ann Parks. She covers all of McCormick and a good portion of Greenwood, including the uptown region of Greenwood. And she's drawn 2 opponents, a Republican and a Green Party candidate. James Pearman is a Republican. Robbie Bryant is Green Party. And then Denise Waldrop is our candidate for District 13, and she's taking on John McCravey, putting all of her artistic talents and positive vibes to good use. And we look forward to working with her and seeing how she progresses with her candidacy. Over here in 14, that is running unopposed. So if you are on the border with Laurens, unfortunately, you are stuck with Stuart Jones for another 2 years. Denise Waldrop has a fundraising event happening on this Thursday. So here's some information about it. We're also promoting it in our email newsletters on Facebook, Twitter, etc. But Denise is taking her artistic talents and she is going to be doing fundraising sketching tutorials. And her first fundraising event is going to teach us how to do a Joe Biden caricature. In order to join this fundraiser, you need to RSVP. And I put the link here to her ActBlue account, and if you donate any amount, you will get a special invitation to this event. Again, it is on Thursday, June 18th from 7 to 8 p.m. And by the way, this presentation will be shared with everybody, so you can open up this yourself, click on these links, and go to the various sites that we're going to share in today's update. And then finally, we have Jamie Harrison for U.S. Senate, who's opposing Lindsey Graham, and Joe Biden will be our next president. His opponent is the non-voter. I don't even see Donald Trump being anywhere near a competitor to Joe Biden. What we have to battle are the complacent voters with get out the vote efforts. If we get the numbers, we get a decent president back in office for a change. Now, it is important to note locally, there are no Democratic candidates running for coroner, clerk of court, 4 county council district seats that are up for re-election. All those seats are held by Republicans that are running again, and they face no opposition. We have solicitor for Circuit 8 not being challenged, and neither is the State House District 14 that has most of Laurens and part of Greenwood. So what we have as a personal goal in 2022 is to make sure that we leave no seat unchallenged. And that's an effort that begins today. It does not begin a month before that election or even 6 months before that election. We need to start talking and raising awareness and getting people pumped up and realizing that anybody can run and win in this environment. Going even more local to the city positions, the city council filing is not done yet. That deadline is August 17th, and there are 3 Greenwood city wards that are up for re-election or election, Ward 1, 3, and 5. And I'm not going to put our third vice chair, Matthew Miller, on the spot here by asking what his intentions are. So we'll wait for an official announcement from Matthew Miller, but we'll know one way or the other by August 17th whether he's running again in Ward 5. Now, I want to take a minute. Those who know me know I am quite a bit data-oriented. I like numbers. And I also respect the fact that not everybody likes numbers the way I like numbers. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide and just point out a few things. What I did was a comparison going back 4 years, starting with the 2016 presidential election and then state primaries, midterms, the presidential primary from this February, and then June 9th state primary. And what I was interested in were the numbers that turned out. So let's do a couple of comparisons. First of all, you should know that we have in Greenwood County 41,000 registered voters. So if I look at that number and I see, all right, in this state primary that was held last Tuesday, we had 11,900 of that 41,000 turn out to vote. And then of that, 2,600 participated in the Democratic primary. This does not mean that there are 2,600 Democrats. Remember, in South Carolina, it's an open primary state, so anybody can participate in any party's primary, and it doesn't matter what you end up voting for in November. So, and by the way, I'm going to take a moment here to recognize this point of confusion. I've actually had a number of people ask me this question directly. Just because you vote in one party's primary does not mean you're locked in to voting for that party's candidate in November. If you participated in the Republican primary because you wanted to have a say in the sheriff candidate, let's say, that does not mean you have to vote Republican in November. You can vote Democrat across the board if you so desire. So those two are disconnected, and one has nothing to do with the other. And that may also explain why there's such a disparity between the 2,600 that participated in the Democratic primary and the 8,000 that participate in the Republican primaries. I think the sheriff's primary was very contentious, and I think I saw quite a few Democrats actually participate in the Republican primary for that very reason. When you compare the 2018 state primary, and that was back when we were picking who was going to be our nominee for governor, as well as we had a congressional primary as well. We had 2,239 participate 2 years ago. This year we had 2,598, and they turned out to vote between Mark D. Welch and Hosea Cleveland. There was a several hundred vote jump from those 2 years, which I thought was very interesting. I actually would not have predicted that, but hey, you know what? Given how disastrous the past 4 years have been under the Trump administration, it just seems to be swinging in our favor in terms of increasing participation in something like a state primary. The other thing I wanted to point out was in the midterms. So as we look at the presidential election from 2016, we had 70% participation in Greenwood County. That was better than the state average of 67.8. So Greenwood's a very politically active part of our state. When it came to the midterms, that actually dropped down to a 56%. So a 14% drop from the presidential down to the midterms. We can expect, and this is my prediction, this 70% is going to be closer to 75% when it comes to November. So that means we have a good portion, almost 10,000 registered voters, just over 10,000 registered voters who did not participate in the 2016 presidential election, 10,000 voters that we can target and sway over to our side. That's what we need to do, is get out the vote. We need to go after the non-active voter, get them to participate, and then we can see our way to victory through that avenue. Okay, a few words about the South Carolina Democratic Party Convention. The last 2 years I've attended in person in Columbia, and they were nothing short of fantastic. We saw marching bands going down the aisle. Saw 23 presidential candidates speak in person. Many of us got to meet those candidates face to face. I got to shake Andrew Yang's hand. It was a little bit of celebrity awe, seeing all those prominent names and figures like Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden and Beto O'Rourke and others marching through. Seeing Kamala Harris come through town, seeing Joe Biden come through town. nothing short of amazing. This year was a little bit different. They had to cancel the in-person convention in Columbia, and they took it virtually. So this is what it looked like. It was very much like what you're seeing right now. It was a Facebook live streaming event. There could be activity or comments and questions asked in the chat room. They were able to switch from speaker to speaker to speaker. So here are the things that we saw. Speeches from Representative Jim Clyburn and candidate Jamie Harrison. By the way, this video was saved. If you go to the South Carolina Democratic Party Facebook page, this is the video that's at the top of their page. You can play it in all of its hour-and-a-half glory and watch these speeches yourself. They also announced the winners of the elections for the Democratic National Convention Committee, as well as the convention delegates. We also have speeches from the congressional candidates. You can go back and watch them yourself. They did a quick passage of various resolutions and rule changes. And then at the end was a very raw and honest address by our chair, Trav Robertson, about some criticism that he had faced from various caucus members about the handling of the party's response to police brutality and racial justice. He spoke forcefully. He provided some very factual counterpoints to that criticism. But I think at the end of the day, I'm in agreement that it was worth bringing up. As uncomfortable as it may have been, these things are better talked about out in the open and not done behind closed doors or done as social media bombs. And also, all emotions were running high. It has been a very, very difficult few weeks, let alone a couple of months. And sometimes emotions get the better of our judgment. And Trav's call was, let's not eat our own. Let's not tear ourselves apart from the inside. If we do have disagreements, let's work them out in the open. Let's work them together. Let's work them honestly. And I appreciated him taking his time to give such a clear message. And I think it's worthwhile watching this video just to go to the end and see that statement. So the Democratic committee members that will be part of the National Committee representing 3 spots from South Carolina are Bree Maxwell, Clay Middleton, and Carol Fowler. They won those elections, and they will represent us when it comes to coming up with national party platforms and voting on things like we do here at the state level. They'll be doing so on our behalf at the national level. So if you know them, please give them our congratulations. On the convention delegate side, from District 3, that's our congressional district, we were able to vote for 3 representatives, 2 on behalf of Joe Biden and 1 on behalf of Bernie Sanders. If you know these people, offer them your congratulations. I know Tanya Winbush. She's the newly elected chair of the Anderson County Democratic Party. So we certainly wish them well. And we're not sure quite yet whether they're going to Milwaukee for an in-person convention or if the National Democratic Party is also going virtual. We'll have to wait and see. There are also another segment of delegates that are designated just for various leaders and elected officials in the state. And these were the ones that were elected to represent Sanders and Biden. They are additional delegates that get to go to this convention. And if you recognize any of their names, for me, I recognize Gloria Anderson from Lawrence. She's on the Lawrence County Democratic Party. She's an executive committee woman. I also recognize the name Marlon Kimpson, although I've never met him in person. He is a well-known figure in this state. And then finally, there are at-large delegates. So we get to vote just kind of across the board, and they fill in the remaining spots. And here are the winners to represent us for the Sanders campaign as well as for the Biden campaign. Finally, there was an announcement from the state party that they have formed a voter protection unit. This voter protection unit is new. It is being directed by Ms. Chandra Young Scott. She is an experienced lawyer, former executive director of the ACLU of South Carolina. She is a powerhouse. So the state party is very fortunate to be able to retain her services and offer her a full-time role as part of our voter protection unit. This unit is aligned with Fair Fight Action. You may hear or may have heard about that. It is an organization formed by Stacey Abrams soon after the governorship of Georgia was stolen due to some very shady election practices. Election practices, by the way, which you may have seen gained national news this past week as the primary was an utter disaster in certain segments of Georgia, absolutely underscoring the voter suppression issue that they have and also serving as a warning shot for us to be vigilant and active across the country to ensure that voting rights are not trampled upon. Chandra Young Scott will be partnering with all of our parties for voter education and legal protection. This goes back to my earlier point. We have an open position for a director of voting rights and protection here in our party. If you were if somebody were to take that role, they would be in touch with the state party, get the education and the materials they need, be that direct line of communication on what to look out for, and help us organize poll watchers, help us organize voter education presentations to our constituents so people know their rights, and so on. So this is one of our more important executive committee positions that we absolutely have to get filled and filled soon. Please let me know if you are interested in such a role. Just to show this protection unit in action, this is Tuesday's primary. This is a live stream as I was watching it on Twitter of something that was happening in Richland County. You can see, and it caught the news here, the lines were going out into the street down the block. It was a fumbling of the primary unlike any other. What you're looking at is a picture of the long line 90 minutes after polls closed at 7 p.m. and there were still that many voters who were to be processed. And since they were in line by 7 p.m., every one of them had to be guaranteed a right to vote. So we had a person on the scene take a photo or pass it along. They called our voter protection director, and you can see Chandra replying immediately, "I'm on it." And a few minutes later, she had been in touch with the County Board of Elections executive director, and they started deploying resources in that direction. This was a beautiful thing to see unfold live on social media. And I think the party did a fantastic job in putting together this unit and getting the right people engaged. We, as the Greenwood County Democratic Party, we need to step up and participate in this as well. All right, now we get to some fun stuff. What have we been up to over these past few months? And this is where I have an absolute pleasure as your newly elected chair to share this with you. First of all, there has been a nationwide wave of activism, of protesting, organizing, getting messages across. Yes, there has been some absolutely unfortunate side effects, but we are absolutely committed to making sure that this message is not lost or we're distracted from this message because of those events. We had people on site in person in Greenville on May 31st to take part in the Silent Sunday. I can personally attest that there was at least 1,500 people present in Greenville in a peaceful but boisterous march down the street with a call to action. And it was absolutely bone-chilling to feel the passion and emotion of everybody wanting change for once and for all. Tired of talking about it. Now we want to see the action. We've also had some great activity in Greenwood. So this was on June 2nd. You can see some images there where at least 150 turned out to march up and down Main Street in Greenwood. You can see the image, the shots that I took. Again, all ages, all races, all creeds, just a great diverse turnout. but everybody unified with the same message. And then last Saturday afternoon, there was a great turnout in Greenwood as well. It was mostly standing along the side of the road, getting the message out to all the drivers and passersby. And you can see some of our members like Lane, Denise, James, and Betty Rose were in attendance. It was an absolutely awesome turnout. It even garnered some news coverage. There's a link here on this page for the Fox News video. They treated this as breaking news, and you can see the line of protesters went all the way down the street and on the other side. And a couple of familiar faces were interviewed and made their debut on television. So that was exciting to see as well. But what we wanted to do was take this energy, and as everybody is saying, if this activism, if these protests don't translate to votes in November, then this is activism that is lost. One of the things that we can be doing right now as part of activism is get involved with police reform. So this is not anti-police, and I think that's a very important message to get out there. We love our police. We love the good police. We love those that are putting their lives in danger to protect us day in and day out. We cannot thank them enough. But at the same time, that does not grant free license to enact way excessive force, sometimes leading to death, targeting minority groups in the process. We have to eliminate that and make our police force live up to the expectations that we as the community require. There is a great group called 8 Can't Wait, which provides very specific 8-point action items that are being taken up in cities across the country. Too much information on this page to go into detail here, but these are common sense actions that every police force and every community should be enacting in the legislative arena. And you can see from this graph here, studies have been done that the more of these 8 bullet points that are implemented, the lower the number of police initiated fatalities occurs. So this isn't about eliminating the police force. This isn't about putting a blame for on every good cop that's out there. This is about common sense reform. And it's one of those things that you would have to look at it and go, why wouldn't we do this? Why wouldn't we want comprehensive reporting? Why wouldn't we want to exhaust all alternatives before shooting? That's the problem. We want to get back to common sense. So this is a great resource for this particular subject. So we wanted to take all of those bodies that we saw and all of the passions that we have in our communities and turn it into votes at the end of the day. So over the past 2 months, we started with a very boring activity, and that's data cleansing. I want to thank Kat Klingerman. I don't know if she's watching this presentation, but she helped me. She's a new volunteer to the Greenwood County Democratic Party, and she helped with some of this data cleansing. We basically took a lot of different data sources. We've had contacts that are in Facebook, Excel, MailChimp, in the news, in emails, brought them all together, all that information into Vote Builder. This is a tool the state party provides us. It's an online database where we can record names, phone numbers. We can record communications that we've had with people. We can record what volunteer skills that they've had. We can record what events they've attended, what dinners we've gone to, what mailing campaigns we've sent out. We can use this to do precise targeting. We have very limited funds and resources, so if we're going to spend 50 cents on a mailer, we want to make sure it's going to somebody who's not already getting and opening all of our emails or attending our meetings live. We want to take that 50-cent mailing and get it to somebody who's not involved. That's what this Vote Builder system can do for us. So we're definitely going to be smarter as we reach out and try to get out the information that we need. So over the past 2 months, over 1,200 contacts have been scrubbed. Getting that done allowed us to do this, the 1,000 postcard campaign. We set a goal of 700 postcards to send out in June. We blew past that and we have 1,000 postcards that have been sent out. And what you're looking at here is a very simple message. It lets them know when's the election date, what are we fighting for, how to get in contact with us, and of course, a very inspirational on-point message from President Barack Obama. Not that he gave us that message personally, this is just a well-known quote that he gave, but it's very much in line with the message we wanted to get out to those who may not be familiar with us, who may have the passion to make a change and are looking for an organization that they can partner with to help enact that change. And then as a secondary result, we're also looking to validate addresses. So any of these postcards that get returned to our PO box, we can update our database and not spend stamps or any type of postage to send out to that address again. I want to issue a special thank you to our postcard warriors who donated the stamps, time, peeled the labels, and put them in the mailbox on our behalf. And that's Kathy Swindell, Paula Taylor, Paul Griffin, Matthew Miller, April Tuminelli. I participated a little bit, as did Lane, Dr. Bob, and Bobby Fulton. Also happy to see some new names in that group, and we look forward to continued participation throughout the upcoming years. Another big announcement, our executive committee had a motion that was raised and passed the last time we met, and that is to update the name of our famous Carnell Drummond dinner. It is now officially renamed the Carnell Drummond Mays Dinner. We wanted to recognize the contributions that Dr. Benjamin Mays has made, originating here in Greenwood County, but really affecting the soul of our nation. It would be a very different nation today if it was not for his involvement in what he did as a leader, not only in our community, but in the nation as a whole. So we got the blessings and appreciation from our local Benjamin E. Mays Historical Preservation Site, and they will participate in helping in some of that education. In fact, it turns out, as I was educated, that Senator Drummond actually met and spoke with and congratulated Benjamin Mays back in the 80s. The two knew each other and worked together, and I look forward to learning more and sharing more about that information later on. But we're excited about this. April Tuminelli has also offered to chair our dinner committee. We're going to begin discussions on that starting next week. We want to start very early this year. We need to make this the biggest dinner event that we've ever had. Again, that's assuming it is safe to do so. If there is any still, ongoing flare-ups, or if it's still not safe to hold a large gathering like this, we may have to pivot, but we are going to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Or maybe I should say we're going to prepare for the best and hope that the worst does not come. But we thank you, April, for stepping up to volunteer for this, and you're going to have a bunch of seasoned veterans working with you to make this a great success. The organization meetings will start soon, so let us know if you're interested in helping organize this, and we're looking to make this an amazing event like none other. Over the past month, we've also held 2 Zoom social hours. One thing is true, I think we miss seeing each other in person. I'm glad we can use technology like Facebook Live to get out updates, but there's just nothing like seeing you in person, breaking bread in person, holding chats, having laughter. Zoom helped get us a little bit of the way there, where we could all talk live to each other on any topic that comes to light. Mark Welch actually joined us for a few of them to share about his campaigns and his thoughts. We're going to hold a few more in the upcoming months as we stay in the safety of our homes, but we do need to unify and socialize. So be on the lookout for future Zoom social hours. We also helped Councilwoman Edith Childs promote information about free COVID testing. We had a COVID testing mobile pop-up at the Little River Multicultural Center out in Hodges. I personally went out and got tested, and I am awaiting my results. As somebody who's been to 3 protests in the past 2 weeks, although I wore a mask, it was nearly impossible to social distance given the size of the crowds. So to be safe, I went ahead and got my testing, and I await the results, and we'll take appropriate action regardless of what the results are. It was shared with me that nearly 600 residents of Greenwood County showed up and got tested on Thursday. That is a fantastic turnout, and it's good to see people taking it seriously. There's another event that's scheduled for June 30th, and it's going to be held at the 96 Primary School from 9 to 4. These are free. It does not require an appointment or a doctor's note. All you need to do is show up in your car. It's also good to wear a mask out of courtesy for the workers that are going to be taking the swab samples from your sinuses, your sinus cavity. And also maybe bring your own pen too, although they did have pens to give out. You will need to fill out a form with contact information, your name, etc., so they know to whom to send the results. For any other information about other DHEC-sponsored events, I included a link here at the bottom of the page. They're being held all throughout the state, all month long. So as new sites pop up, you can stay abreast of them here, and we'll do our best to let you know when other events in Greenwood are about to happen. But the one in 96 is the only one that I saw in our region for the upcoming few weeks. We're also thrilled to announce that there is a new chapter of the Young Democrats of South Carolina that has formed in Greenwood. And I'll confess that it occurred somewhat as a surprise. We saw the announcement on the Young Democrats website and Twitter and Facebook pages. They did the announcement. But we appreciate the efforts that Jatwan Floyd, who's been an active member of our party for the past year, he helped organize and actually held an election, and they've got their committee established, and their names are here. I had the personal pleasure of working with Jatwan in February as we did our day of action, where we did door knocking in certain communities of Greenwood County to let them know about the presidential primary and leave door hangers behind. And so I went with Jatwan to help walk him through the actions of knocking door to door and talking to people, and it became pretty evident after 10 minutes that he was far better at it than I am. So it was an absolute pleasure seeing him. He is a political science major at Lander University, and we look forward to working directly with him, coordinating our events, and getting the youth of our county mobilized and out in the field, working for our candidates and getting out the vote. Finally, or not finally, next topic is about our financial position. We did an audit of our finances, and absolutely thrilled to say we are in excellent financial shape. In fact, I compared our financial shape to some of those of our neighboring counties. You know, I certainly wouldn't compare us to Greenville or Richland counties or Charleston counties. I mean, they've got millions of dollars. But for some of our neighboring counties, we are in absolutely great financial shape. And we have to thank Charles Lewis for his guidance of the checkbook over the past few years. Unfortunately, the Fish and Dogs fundraiser, which has traditionally been our largest fundraising event in the year, had to be canceled this summer. There just did not seem an opportunity to hold it safely. And as we see just in this past week, we're reaching record numbers of COVID-19 cases in our state, and it seems to be continuing to rise. We truly do not want to put any of our members in jeopardy by holding a large personal event. Even if we were to enact 6-foot social distancing, I don't even think Magnolia Park would be able to handle the volume of crowds we usually attract. So we're not going to be able to hold that this year. But we are looking to make up for it in a couple of ways. One, through a spectacular Carnell Drum and Maze dinner. I feel we have an opportunity, should it be safe, to have a turnout that's twice as large as any other that we've held before, as well as do some creative side fundraising aside from the standard ticket sales. There's some great things we can do this year. Other fundraisers, we're going to be holding a clearance sale of the T-shirts. The T-shirts that Charles Lewis put out there over the last year, we have broke even on it. So for the T-shirts that we've sold, have paid for themselves and then a little bit more. We still have a surplus, so we're going to do a clearance sale once I've recorded all the sizes that we have. Look to our website for more information. But we're going to have a clearance sale of those T-shirts. We're also going to be putting out a line of some new logoed merchandise. Mei Kung is going to be helping with the design of these. Now, what you see here on the screen are just ideas to stimulate the mind. These are not actual merchandise that we've acquired yet. I don't want May to have any panic attacks about how terrible these designs are, but they are just to give you an idea of what we're looking to do. Hats, mugs, pencils, bags, the works. And we think that there's a group of us that are very proud of the organization that we participate in, and we want to be able to wear it proud in public, or think about it with coffee mugs, give them out as prizes possibly, or give them out as part of awareness campaigns. But we've found ourselves a partner who's able to provide us with custom-made materials of all sorts, including shirts as well, and we want to be able to sell them in an online store. We're also kicking around the idea of doing smaller takeout food fundraisers. So instead of a big cookout, we deal with a cook-in and maybe a drive-up takeout box where you can place an order, pull up to, say, the Hut, and have a couple of plates handed to you in your car. We can do that as part of a fundraiser. We can even have some of our candidates help distribute the food and get to know the drivers as they pull up, but that allows us to efficiently raise money, deliver food, as well as increase awareness. And then we're also looking for sponsorships. And by sponsorships, we're kind of fleshing out some early ideas here, but people who are willing to donate a fixed amount every month, and in return, they get some perks as a Greenwood County Democratic Party member. More details on that as we go forward. And if you have any ideas of other fundraising activities we could do, we are certainly all ears. And then finally, we've done incredible ramping up of our social media activity over the past 2 months. We now have 2 Facebook pages. We have the official page where announcements and updates and information sharing is done, but it's pretty much a one-way we communicate out to our membership. There's another page called the Greenwood County Democrats. It's a separate group. So Facebook has pages for information and then groups for interaction. You can join this group. It's a private group, so you can feel safe that what you say and post in there is limited only to the people that are in that group. But we ask you to look out for it, and you can post articles, you can post comments, you can ask questions. It's meant to be more of an open forum. We also have 2 Twitter accounts and 2 Instagram accounts, which do similar things. We have official Twitter and Instagram accounts. And then we also have the Greenwood County Liberals accounts in Twitter and Instagram, and they are meant to post more humorous articles, political cartoons. The Greenwood Liberals likes to harass Jeff Duncan's account on occasion and really stick it to him. But this is where we can interact with our community members and our candidates. We also have a YouTube page. We've been posting videos of events, the protests. Sometimes you'll see messages, tutorials. For example, a recent tutorial was uploaded. If you want somebody to know if they're registered to vote or what their registration status is, I provided a YouTube video that walks you through it. We also have email distribution lists, and we're keeping our website updated. Speaking of the website, here's what we're seeking. We have an open call out to you as our members for opinion pieces. If you have something you want to get off your chest, or you want to talk about a particular political topic, feel free to send a write-up our way. Send it to info@gwdcountydems.org. We would be happy to feature it on our website as well as promote it in our newsletters, Facebook pages, etc. For example, we have 19-year-old Asa Games. She wrote an opinion piece about her perspective on the marches and police brutality that she's been seeing over the past few weeks. It's kept her up at night, and she let it all out in a very passionate opinion piece that we first published on our website. Later, it was picked up in the Index Journal and published in the newspaper. So we were glad to have gotten the scoop on that opinion piece there. Denise Waldrop has also written an opinion piece, and we're looking for more contributions. We want this to be a forum for our membership's voices. If you have any skills as a graphic designer, we certainly welcome you. We certainly need that assistance, not only for the social media, but also for any print media. We do the best we can with what we've got, but we know there are those who are very skilled with digital art, would love your participation. And then also you can be an amplifier for us. You can take our tweets, our Facebook posts, our newsletters, and share them with others. If you could help by amplifying our voices and share an article or a link on your Facebook page or retweet something, that would be fantastic. Take the email newsletter, forward it to some family and friends, ask them to subscribe, let them know what's going on within our county's party. All right, we're going to be wrapping it up here. What are we planning June through November? Here are just some high-level items here. More details will be found on our website and Facebook and newsletters. Of course, our number one purpose for existence is to support and promote our candidates. We are an activist organization that believes that the best way to enact change is through the promotion of our elected officials who share our values and our beliefs. So that's our number one thing that we do. To help with that, we want to update our voters guide. You can see a copy of what we did in the midterm primaries, or midterm elections over on the right, drive-through food pickup fundraisers, headquarters. We're actually kicking around the idea of establishing a permanent headquarters. We want to do more virtual meetups, phone banking drives spearheaded by Kathy Swindell, and increased community involvement. And we would absolutely love your participation. If any of these tickle your fancy, please get in touch. All right, as we wind down here, I appreciate your tolerance, and I know it's difficult to listen to me for an hour. I don't know how you stood it, but I appreciate your indulgence. If you have any questions, now is a great time to ask. Just pop it into the chat room on the side of your live stream. I've seen a few people have already posted some information, more just comments, and we appreciate your comments. If you have anything else to share, please do so. And if you have offered to participate and volunteer, we've got that information. Thank you very much for putting out there in the chat room your willingness to participate. All right, well, if that's it, if you do have any questions or comments or opinions, you know what? I work for you. We're here to enact your desires and wishes. So we are very open to listening and working with everybody. So if you have any feedback, we're more than welcome to hear it and improve. And until next time, I wish everybody a great weekend, and we look forward to our next meeting. We're going to wrap it up at this point. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.